In heavy industry, even a tiny technical glitch or a single operator error is enough to turn everything upside down. These clips caught on camera are the ultimate proof of that. The sheer force of the high winds toppled a massive crane in Dubbo. Fortunately, thanks to meteorological monitoring, the site was evacuated just in time. To avoid the white car making an illegal turn, others were forced into a life or death situation. Luckily, no one was injured. Heavy snow, low visibility, and it all starts with one poor decision. That hit to the bucket serves as a costly reminder of that careless moment. This is a prime example of the constant hazards at mining sites where unstable terrain can trigger a landslide at any moment. Choosing to dive into the river rather than risk hitting anyone else. What a brave move by this driver after his brakes failed. And even better, he managed to bail out just in time. Despite recognizing the safety risks of the crane tilting on wet mud and steep terrain, the operator kept going. That choice cost him dearly as the crane completely toppled over. The leading cause of combine fires is dry straw buildup on hot exhaust pipes. Remember, give your harvester a deep clean before it hits the field. The victim said that slowing down the moment she saw the first log fall is what saved her, just seconds before another one came flying her way. Millions of dollars almost went down into the trench in a domino effect. Since kilometers of steel pipe are already welded solid, just one machine slipping would cause the weight of thousands of tons to pull the entire fleet down with it. Trying to secure a massive steel machine with a few flimsy straps or thin chains is completely futile. To stay safe, always use heavy-duty load chains and keep an eye on the tension, especially after hitting rough terrain. Doesn't it feel like a huge waste watching a building that's still practically new get leveled in seconds? Is this just inevitable progress, or just the peak of bad urban planning? Let us know what you think. It seemed like just a typical move down the slope, but it quickly turned into a series of somersaults. Worried about the driver? Don't be, he's popping up right now. If there were wheel chocks here, they'd stop the truck from rolling and act as one of the last safety checks for the driver to prevent the whole mistake. The driver probably thought he'd made it across, forgetting that the back of his rig was still sitting right in the danger zone. Mobilizing a fleet of 100-ton mega machines to lift a falling crane, but they never expected the disaster to escalate when the cable snapped. As you can see, when a truck swings mid-air like that, it generates a massive amount of inertia. Well, we've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is the armored truck was successfully rescued. The bad news? Now we're going to need a second rescue truck. CCTV footage recorded an explosion at the Ryazan oil refinery in 2014. Surrounded by highly flammable fuel, rescuers battled the blaze and cooled adjacent rail cars to prevent a massive spread. Preventing a chain reaction among the remaining oil cars was the biggest achievement of the rescue mission. It's hard to pin down the cause here, as ship launching is an incredibly complex technique. A minor error in airbag placement or tidal timing can ruin months of shipbuilding effort. Standing right in the drop zone while cutting pillars, these two are incredibly lucky to be alive. Safety regulations exist specifically to prevent disasters like this. While the two workers in the previous clip stood right in a dangerous collapse zone, the 2018 Savannah Bridge demolition shows what a professional process looks like. Calculating the fall zone, securing the site, and keeping everyone out of the drop zone. Let's give a huge shout out to this harvester driver who bravely steered the flaming machine away from the fields to save the farmer's crop. To avoid a $1 million water disaster like Electrostal Warehouse, keep your roof maintained and ensure the drainage stays unclogged. Per safety rules, outdoor cranes must stop operating and be secured against the wind immediately when wind speeds reach level 6, roughly 10.8 meters per second, to prevent avoidable accidents. Just one leaking gas seal can trigger a major incident, making regular maintenance checks essential. Attempting to lift the concrete block too far from the boom on muddy ground, the crane quickly paid the price with a brutally costly fail. An industry insider suggests that demolition should always be done top-down, piece by piece, and never stand under an overhang to avoid accidents like this. Due to pure carelessness, the boom truck driver failed to check the crane's height, accidentally putting the person in the parked car on the side of the road into a life-or-death situation. Thankfully, no one was injured in this terrifying fail. According to safety rules, the bucket should only be hovering about a foot off the ground while moving. If they had just kept it at the right height, this fail wouldn't be half as serious. Working on a wind turbine is definitely not for the faint of heart, especially when heavy winds kick up at this 330-foot high office. Massive power consumption, especially during the summer, can easily push capacitor banks into a dangerously overloaded state. Accidentally hit an underground utility? To avoid a disaster, no backfill, don't pull the bucket out, and no DIY fixes. This is why industrial tanks leave 5 to 20% of their volume empty. It stops overpressure and catastrophic spills when the temperature changes. See a toxic yellow plume rising after an explosion? Grab a wet rag for your nose and run perpendicular to the wind. And don't let your guard down once you escape. Those fumes can silently flood your lungs hours later, so get to a hospital ASAP. A single flaw in the drainage design, or even just one clogged gutter, is all it takes to completely wreck a luxury lounge. In freezing Norilsk, these scorching copper smelters running constantly at 1,000 degrees Celsius. At those temps, even a single drop of water hitting that molten metal is enough to cause a massive eruption. What caused this massive container to sway like that? Extreme sea winds, a faulty sensor, or a mistake in the crane cabin? The Sears Building demolition in Salt Lake City shows just how much dust these projects can kick up. Without a dust suppression spray system, this would be an industrial environmental disaster. Always prioritize parking trailers on level ground and avoid slopes to minimize the risk of them rolling away out of control. The secret behind these straw bales at the demolition site? They act as a shield to absorb the blast energy, block flying debris, and dampen the noise. Thanks to them, this massive 140-meter chimney collapses with precision much more smoothly. Unclogging pipes with ground pumps might be effective, but the extreme pressure can easily trigger a pipe burst. Don't trade safety for convenience. For high-rise structures, demolition must proceed from the top down in accordance with the approved technical plan. It should never demolish the structure from the middle or the base, as this could cause it to collapse uncontrollably. At the same time, priority should be given to using remotely controlled machinery or long-reach equipment to maintain a safe distance, minimizing risks for operators. The ladder operator did an excellent job. He stayed calm and focused on a clear objective. He truly deserves recognition for preventing a potential disaster. In cotton spinning mills, if flames catch an entire roll of material or a conveyor system, it can quickly escalate into a large-scale fire. The quickest way to prevent the fire from spreading is to isolate the fire source from the drive shaft. Luckily, everything turned out fine, but specialized tools should always be used to separate the burnt parts, avoiding direct physical contact as he did. This moment, when the robot suddenly moved violently during testing, reminds us that no matter how advanced technology becomes, strict testing is still essential before it ever interacts with humans. It appears the driver overlooked the fact the forklift's mast wasn't vertical. As a result, when lifting the load, the vehicle's center of gravity shifted forward, leading to a tumble like this one. Watch this video to see exactly why danger zone regulations are enforced so strictly. This was probably a terrifying experience for the worker on duty that day. The extreme hydraulic pressure blew the pipeline apart and instantly triggered an oil mist explosion. Fortunately, all the workers were safe after the incident. An emergency demolition turned into a nightmare when the excavator struck the unstable building's left side, causing the structure to fall onto the neighboring property instead. And just like that, Laundromat is reopened as Bricks and Dust. Even the strongest equipment can fail when overloaded, improperly rigged, or subjected to sudden movement. It appears the driver may have reversed at an erratic speed or placed too much confidence in the tire's grip on uneven terrain. As a result, when the vessel shifted, there wasn't enough time to react, either to brake or move forward again.
Oh my fucking man.
Видео засвали.
Словения добрый.
The ship was peacefully anchored when it suddenly became an unintended obstacle. And the Turkish captain learned a costly lesson afterward with a fine of 30,000 lei. A Chinese engine test was reportedly proceeding exactly according to plan until the rocket's first stage suddenly detached from the launch platform. Within seconds, the massive structure lost control, veered toward the mountainside, and exploded. Tunnel collapses are a common risk during construction. After an incident, work has to stop so each meter can be reinforced with grout injection. Only when the load-bearing structure and concrete are stabilized can the tunnel be considered safe again. When road friction can no longer be relied on, even the best driving skills become reactive. Controlling your speed from the very beginning is the only way to stay in command against the forces of nature. The moment a Mi-17 military transport helicopter chewed a corner of a hangar at SLP Airport in Mexico is a clear reminder to always check blind spots and strictly follow ground crew guidance when operating oversized equipment. The conveyor belt fire didn't come from a sudden accident, but from friction, overload, and poor maintenance. Don't wait until smoke appears to start checking. Set up regular temperature inspections as a standard safety measure. No one was injured in this incident, and that's the lucky part. And checking the tie downs and load anchor points should always be mandatory, never optional. Although it wasn't a complete success, this still marks a historic step for Australia. Eris is the first attempt to send a hybrid, solid liquid fuel rocket into orbit, promising more affordable and safer satellite launches compared to traditional rocket systems. When the well pressure isn't balanced by drilling fluid, the difference between formation pressure and hydrostatic pressure can force everything upward. That's what blows drilling tools out like a champagne cork, even when they weigh dozens of tons. Lowering a boat with a crane requires calculation of force, weight, and rigging points. In this case, the operation failed due to an unbalanced load. This molten iron leak was caused by a loose clamping mold and a sand mold that couldn't withstand the pressure. It's a fairly common situation in the casting industry, but it can still be dangerous if anyone stands too close to the pouring area. Beer tanks are always under high CO2 pressure. If the lid is opened before the pressure is released, the pressure difference will cause the lid to pop off and the beer to spray out forcefully, which is very dangerous. In situations like this, the surrounding area should be cleared, and cables with a safety factor well above the expected load should be used to prevent the risk of cable failure. The flooding of the entire electric vehicle factory was the result of a single impact at the wrong spot. The cause was traced back to a forklift operator who got distracted by listening to music. The most critical pressure inside the silo is located in the midsection, where the material exerts the greatest lateral force. When the material becomes damp and clumps together, this force can surge, causing cracks, wall rupture, and even structural collapse. In the metallurgy industry, this is known as a cobble, a situation where a hot steel billet loses control on the rolling line and is violently ejected outward. It's a serious warning about the need for regular inspection of speed sensors in automated steel rolling systems. Gas cylinders must only be transported using specialized trolleys with securing chains to prevent tipping. If the valve breaks during a fall, the cylinder can turn into a rocket, shooting off with tremendous force, exactly like what happened in the video. Those who witnessed the incident were likely shocked and deeply concerned for the safety of everyone on the barge, but rest assured, everyone made it out safe. In reality, the telescopic cylinder had already tilted and become unstable beforehand. The driver closing the door was simply the final trigger that caused a complete collapse due to a technical failure. And that's why these machines always keep us on our toes. If you want to see more impressive videos, don't forget to like and subscribe to WowTech.